link to the path of success, happiness, and self-discovery awaits you. Mastering your mind. Conquer bad habits and addictions. We've all experienced those moments, acting almost automatically, only to realize how foolish it was, wishing we could undo it. Sometimes it's trivial, like a simple typo, but other times it carries significant consequences, such as lighting up a cigarette for nostalgia's sake. This can trigger a chain of harmful behaviors, not just more smoking, but also frustration, self-criticism, and guilt for slipping back into old habits. The reality is, these lapses are part of the human experience, something we all encounter. Understanding why we make regrettable choices, exploring our tendency to excuse our mistakes as just human nature, and discovering strategies to combat addiction. We all face moments where we choose actions we later regret. Why does this happen? It's because we possess two distinct selves, the conscious self and the automatic self. Both play a role in shaping our decisions. The automatic self operates without conscious control. It's responsible for actions like mindlessly snacking while watching TV. In contrast, the conscious self employs reason and deliberate thought. For instance, deciding to try octopus for the first time is driven by the conscious self. Often, regrettable actions occur when the automatic self dominates and the conscious self fails to weigh consequences. This is evident when we indulge in snacks without considering the impact. To overcome such behaviors, it's crucial to train the automatic self to resist slipping into negative patterns, while strengthening the dominance of the conscious self is beneficial. Focusing on retraining the automatic self proves more effective. The brain is adaptable. It can physically change based on our actions and decisions. Continuous learning stimulates the growth of new brain cells and connections between them. This process shapes our behavior. Repetitive actions strengthen neural connections. For example, consistently going to the gym forms strong connections between the nerve cells associated with starting and completing a workout. By cultivating positive habits, we can replace negative ones. The key is transforming automatic habits from detrimental to constructive. Some habits can lead us into self-destructive behaviors. Unfortunately, it's challenging to break these habits ingrained in our automatic system. Our automatic self harbors various habits, some beneficial, others detrimental. These habits form as repeated behaviors create new neural pathways in the brain. We acquire both good and bad habits subconsciously. For instance, a bad habit might involve watching TV and eating chips instead of exercising, while a good habit could be regular teeth brushing. While habits like smoking are clearly harmful, sometimes habits we perceive as good can be subtly destructive. Self-serving biases often lead to these misleadingly harmful habits. Self-serving biases influence how we perceive ourselves and the world. We attribute our positive traits to personal effort, but blame external factors for our faults. For example, consider a man who habitually objectifies women, excusing his behavior with, "I'm just a man with natural desires," thereby deflecting responsibility. Conversely, he credits his professional success to his own dedication, disregarding external support. Interestingly, self-serving biases often benefit happy and confident individuals, reinforcing their belief in having earned their happiness. However, this bias can distort reality and lead to overconfidence, discouraging further effort. These biases operate unconsciously, evading correction by the conscious self. Consequently, we repeat mistakes unintentionally, reinforcing these biases without deliberate choice. Repressed emotions often lead to self-destructive tendencies. Emotions are akin to a boiling tea kettle that releases steam. They are chemical reactions that build up and reach tipping points. Negative emotions such as fear, anger, and guilt can drive us towards self-destructive behaviors. Attempting to suppress these feelings only redirects them in other, often harmful ways. Emotions are natural responses, similar to pulling your hand away from a hot stove. They aren't inherently wrong because they are not driven by logic. However, perceiving them as wrong can intensify feelings of guilt, anger, or frustration. This misunderstanding of emotions can fuel self-destructive actions, often stemming from a lack of harmony between our conscious and automatic selves. Sometimes, our conscious mind recognizes an action as detrimental, yet our automatic impulses override this judgment. However, not all automatic responses are negative. For instance, anger can serve as a protective instinct, fostering courage when defending oneself or loved ones. Yet, excessive repression of anger can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive decisions. At work, it might prompt a hastily written email, whereas in a crisis like a home invasion, anger could empower a quick decision to protect oneself. Suppressed anger accumulates over time, risking explosive outbursts, potentially harming loved ones. Such actions can evoke guilt, further fueling self-loathing, an equally dangerous emotion. Self-destructive behaviors can stem from a variety of underlying issues such as a cry for attention, general dissatisfaction, or a loss of motivation to address problems. One common reason for self-destructive behavior is a subconscious plea for help. The unconscious self may act out in ways that seek attention, hoping someone will intervene. Often, people find it difficult to directly ask for assistance due to fear of rejection. Instead, they may exhibit subtle behaviors to signal their distress. Richard O'Connor, author of a notable book on this topic, encountered a 16-year-old boy struggling with marijuana use. The boy dropped his stash in front of his mother twice, hoping she would notice and intervene. When questioned, he tearfully confessed that he simply wanted a caring mother to take notice and provide guidance. While strong emotions frequently drive self-destructive behavior, this isn't always the case. Some individuals simply struggle to counter their self-destructive tendencies. Consider those who feel utterly defeated. They fall into two categories. Firstly, there are those who have never found the motivation to change harmful behaviors, resigning themselves to a belief that misery is an inevitable part of life. Secondly, there are individuals who have made repeated attempts to better themselves, only to face disappointment and burnout. This group lacks the motivation necessary for further self-improvement, feeling overwhelmed by past failures. For those in the second category, setting realistic goals is crucial. Instead of aiming to quit smoking abruptly, potentially setting oneself up for failure, it's more effective to establish achievable milestones, such as gradually reducing cigarette consumption. Addictions in undertow represent two additional forms of self-destructive behavior. How many of us have thought, "I finally quit smoking," only to find ourselves smoking again 2 weeks later? Addiction and undertow often follow this pattern of relapse. Undertow sabotages our progress just as we near success. It arises from ingrained habits deeply etched into our brains. A single slip-up can trigger a return to familiar patterns our brains expect. Consider an alcoholic who has maintained sobriety for a year. At a party, they accidentally sip from the wrong glass and subsequently spiral into a binge. This individual may experience intense guilt and self-loathing. They might withdraw from social engagements, neglect responsibilities, and continue self-destructive behavior. One strategy to disrupt this cycle is to associate relapse with negative feelings like fear or disgust. For instance, the recovering alcoholic could instinctively spit out the drink upon realizing their mistake. Rewiring these brain patterns is essential to avoid being swept up by undertow. Addictions inherently undermine self-control, whether involving substances like drugs or behaviors such as gambling. When we obtain something desirable, our brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the desire for more. This hormonal response mirrors behaviors seen in lab animals trained to administer small shocks to avoid larger ones, even when the threat diminishes. The effectiveness of programs like Alcoholics Anonymous lies in their acknowledgement of powerlessness over addiction. By viewing oneself objectively and confronting the issue, individuals can begin to address and overcome it. We can effectively overcome bad habits by practicing mindfulness and enhancing self-control. The first step involves cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of observing oneself calmly, objectively, and compassionately. It requires stepping back from habitual reactions to avoid immediate action. One effective method to develop mindfulness is through meditation. Mindful meditation aims at fostering awareness rather than achieving enlightenment or Zen. Find a quiet, comfortable space where you can meditate daily for about 30 minutes. Close your eyes, focus on your breath, and allow thoughts to come and go without judgment. If meditation feels challenging, consider journaling to track thoughts and emotions. Ultimately, the goal is to bolster self-control and strengthen willpower. With consistent dedication, self-control transitions from conscious effort to automatic behavior, rewiring the brain in the process. The saying, "Fake it till you make it," popularized by organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous, encapsulates this approach. Initially challenging, practicing self-control gradually becomes easier and more automatic. This principle extends beyond addiction recovery. Pretending to be kind can foster genuine kindness, reinforcing positive behaviors until they become habitual. Improving willpower is also vital. A healthier diet supports optimal brain function, while self-discipline involves gentle correction when necessary. Associating negative consequences with temptations reduces their allure over time. Moreover, developing mindfulness and self-control lays the foundation for nurturing positive relationships. Surrounding oneself with supportive individuals fosters a conducive environment for sustaining healthy habits effortlessly. Bad habits take hold when our automatic self repeats behaviors without our conscious self making better choices. However, through mindfulness and dedication, we can reshape our brain's pathways to break free from these habits. Consistent meditation and persistence in faking it till you make it are key strategies. Actionable advice: know yourself. Start by observing yourself objectively and acknowledging any self-destructive behaviors. Use meditation to tune into your thoughts and feelings. Understanding them better simplifies your journey towards change. If you've enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more. Thank you so much for watching.